Guys, so this is what if. Well, what if callum had the omnitrix part 5, bro? Basically, guys, I made part 4 a couple months ago, probably like 2 or 3 months ago. Really, and this is one of my favorite callum what ifs, or one of my favorite, general in what ifs I made on my channel. Let's get into it, guys. Enough talking, because this is my last video I'm making for this week, and I'm uploading it on Friday. It's probably gonna come out Saturday night. But this weekend, I'm probably not going to be uploading anything since I'm going to be having to move with my family and do a bunch of stuff. And we're going to try to get as much stuff as you can at the house and move like in 2 days. Because we don't have that much stuff. Well, we do, but it's not that much to, whatever. So we're going to try our hardest. So I'm probably going to be busy. So I'm not going to really have any time to upload this weekend. So yeah. So let's start and let's get into it. Now, we start our story off after pretty much the events of episode 1, season 2. And we see that basically, Claudia and her brother show up to basically, Claudia used the flute to basically make Rayla, go to sleep. And then we see that basically, Claudia's brother is about to finish the job, or about to straight up just, murk Rayla. But they get stopped, and basically Rayla, snaps out of it. Now, pretty much his brother. Basically, we don't see Rayla wake up, but we do see that basically Claudia's brother says, "I never attacked me that I was sleeping before. Maybe you should wake her up for a second. Then it'll be sporting." Basically, we're saying, 1 second. Okay, basically, her waking up Rayla, but it backfiring. But we see Rayla wake up pretty quickly, even before Claudia can undo the spell for a couple seconds. Basically, her saying, "How did you resist it?" Her saying, "Oh, this lovely flower." Basically showing that the flower had a thorn and it was poking her in the finger, making sure she couldn't sleep. So basically, she tricked them. Now they start fighting, going back and forth throughout the fight. And at the end of the fight, basically Claudia uses a spell on Rayla's tools, basically making it so that her tools basically burn, but not like melt, just fall out her hands, and she drops them. Basically, it hurting her hands. Basically, pretty much Claudia's brother's about to finish the job after a little bit of fighting and dirty talking, or just straight up making fun of each other. Now before they go back in the fight, basically we see Callum step in, telling them to stop. Now Callum would be in his vest, not being really prepared to go out there. Basically him just being in his vest without his jacket and his scarf. Basically him saying to stop it. Now basically Callum tells them to just stop it, and basically Callum tells them the same thing that he did originally. Basically saying that pretty much she helped me and she didn't kidnap me. We came willingly. Now basically they start arguing all about the stuff. Callum starts to talk to Claudia and all sorts of other stuff. Basically them going back and forth, and basically, them being escorted to pretty much a room at the, area, or pretty much at the mountain. Basically, them being, given a room. Now, we see Israel basically being kind of happy that they're here, asking Callum, why are you doing that with your hair? Basically, I seen Callum trying to make his hair look better. Now, Callum in this version, since the omnitrix would kind of, be kind of hidden from his pretty much jacket. You still have his jacket on, but he wouldn't have his scarf on, and his jacket would kind of have his sleeves rolled up a little bit, and also he would just do his hair normally, like in this picture. And basically, you would see Callum pretty much bump into Claudia after a little bit of a scene of Claudia and her brother basically talking about why they here and all sorts of other stuff. Basically saying that we need to get the princess back, and basically she pretty much they start talking, and they talk the same way like in canon. Nothing at that point changing, since Callum doesn't tell them about the omnitrix. Basically they're at the table eating food. Basically the food still being a illusion. Basically her saying, maybe I can do some dark magic. Basically pretty much all of them scooting their food forwards. Basically not really knowing what she was talking about. Now, as they're eating, basically, Claudia asked for the egg, but we see that, Callum just say, "It is no egg." Basically, her saying, "What do you mean it's no egg? What happened to it?" Basically, him saying, "You understand in a second." When basically Israel gets out from the table and goes to get, the hatchling. or pretty much the dragon hatchling. As she fangirls over the dragon and basically is about to pretty much, does like an anime float towards the dragon, saying it's so cute. Basically, Rayla stepping in saying, so cute. I thought before you said it was a weapon of destruction. Basically, them arguing about, how you cannot touch the dragon. And basically, they talk about how, well, you need to get the hatchling Tazavia to its mother. Basically, pretty much Cal saying she's right. Their mission is too important. Basically, Claudia and her brother look at each other with, us knowing their plan from, earlier on in the parts of the video. Basically, them having a plan to, well, take the egg, or them having different plans guided from their father. Basically, now, pretty much, well, Claudia's brother gets the idea to butter them up, or just basically make them warm up to him so he can snatch the egg at the last second. Or straight up just snatch the hatchling. Basically gets the idea to basically say that, well, you guys do have to come home because the king, the prince, really misses you. Basically him making a straight up lie. Basically Claudia looking at him saying, what have you done? Basically, her and him knowing that, or them thinking that, or just whatever, the king is dead. So basically we see that Callum and Claudia go to the quarters, and basically they go into the quarters, and basically Claudia's brothers, pretty much says, you see that guy look I got from the elf? I think she's into me. Basically, pretty much Claudia saying she's not into you. And basically her saying that she's onto you. Are you saying that? Us being here out of the blue is bringing attention. And pretty much Claudia says, Zoran, or pretty much Claudia says Zoran, her brother's name, basically saying their dad is dead. Why did you lie about that? Basically, Claudia says they are friends. It's wrong to just lie about their parents, their family, their loved ones not being dead, even though they are. Basically, pretty much, well, Zoran's saying that, well, you shouldn't be the one talking. You squish innocent animals to make magic pancakes. Basically, Zoran says that I tried your way. Pretty much saying that I used words. I tried not using a sword. But basically, he says, at this point, we should just go, all out, punching stuff. What a real warrior would do. Basically, Claudia's saying a real warrior wouldn't act stupid and tell a lie to a child about their father not being dead, even though he is. Now, basically, she says, before you do that, or if you even do that, give me one more day to convince Callum and Israel to leave with us, okay? Basically, pretty much, well, Zoran's saying, okay. Now we switch to Callum and pretty much Israel. Callum and Rayla talking about how, well, Rayla saying that she doesn't trust them. Basically, Israel saying, I know she tried to kill you multiple times and all sorts of other stuff, but basically, you gotta remember, until the day, well, she thought you were trying to hurt me, and is. But now she knows that you are helping us. Basically, Varela tells Callum that I know she's lying because pretty much you're trying to say that, well, the king's dead and they lied about that. But her not having the courage to say it, not trying to break the bad news to Callum, basically, Claudia stepping in, pretty much saying hello, trying, get some trust from Callum. Or basically, having some time with Callum. Basically, Callum, goes along. Him not really having his jacket on since pretty much I just like Callum with his vest on because his jacket and his scarf just look wacky on him. But Callum does wear a scarf, kind of like a towel around his neck. Basically, it just being down. Now we see Callum and pretty much Claudia pretty much going down the pretty much rock walkway across the forest, or the garden where the elf, pretty much the elf garden, whatever. I don't really know. Basically, I'm walking and them talking. Now, basically, Claudia says that, are you two like did I interrupt something? Basically, well, Callum saying, no, you didn't interrupt anything. Basically, Callum not really knowing what, because he's built up kind of a not really yet, but soon. Now, basically, he says that I don't think of her that way, but I think of her more as a assassin friend. Now, pretty much Claudia, says, yeah, I understand. I have friends like that. Basically, Callum saying, so what did you want to talk about? Basically, Callum and them are talking. Basically, her saying, "I need to tell you something that happened back home." Basically, Callum not really, not really being exhumed by a little bit of guilt. Basically, him saying that I kind of messed up your primal stone. Now, doing the whole time magic thing Callum did, he did well, originally, since Callum did technically straight up just smash the primal stone as he was using omnitrix to make the storm to birth the dragon. Basically, pretty much Callum, and that's not really being seeing the storm being broken, but just seeing Callum use the omnitrix to transform, and use the primal stone to basically use magic, but also it being overloaded by omnitrix energy, or pretty much the energy of the alien, making it explode and burst and crack. Now, basically, Callum did do it on purpose a little bit. Him just trying to get as much storm energy or just as much, just anything out of the orb. Basically, us seeing that, well, pretty much she says, well, accidents happen. Pretty much Callum saying, I did it on purpose. Now she says, I'm sure you have a good reason. And pretty much basically saying, Callum saying, I really had a good idea. I really had a good, explanation. Basically, him going for a hug for pretty much Claudia, but Claudia, or pretty much him just backing off, not really wanting to hug her just yet, but him actually didn't want to do it and be weird. Pretty much Callum tells her that I would love to, well, show you all the magic moon places. Basically, showing her everything. Pretty much, where the books are, just walking around. And Callum also, as they're walking, her asking about the thing on his wrist. Basically, Callum says, well, I never told your, Zarin this, but the day I left, the day before, or the day as I was going through the day, well, something fell from the sky. Something that I didn't even know what. And it attached onto my arm. Ever since I've been able to turn these creatures, these things that can help me do crazy things, extraordinary things. Basically, they're saying, can you show me? Basically, Callum uses the omnitrix to transform into Heat Blast. Basically, him using his flames to make a flame type of, pretty much making a fire construct, making it pretty much a fire dragon, pretty much flying around pretty much Claudia, making it far enough so she wouldn't get, burned, but her feeling the heat. Basically, Callum walking towards her, saying, is this cool or what? Basically, her saying, it's amazing. Basically, her touching pretty much, as she's looking around on her hand, touching pretty much, Callum's chest on the rock part of Heat Blast, but pretty much Callum really being able to a little bit, lower down the heat on his chest or on his actual body, except for the flames. Basically, it just feeling like kind of a warm plate after being microwaved. Basically, Callum says, "Is this magical?" Basically, her saying it's amazing. Basically, you get switched back to basically the pretty much the girl, her wolf, and also Isrin, basically them talking to Zoran trying to butter them up to give him the dragon. Now basically we see pretty much Claudia, and at this point, pretty much Callum was still in Heat Blast form. Basically, him showing Claudia pretty much the elf illusionist. Her pretty much being kind of confused since pretty much Claudia did touch her face. Basically, pretty much her just leaving, touching her face, pretty much saying that was weird. Now we would see them go into the temple. Them seeing markings on the walls, beautiful magical butterflies, just making the place look the place looks awesome. Basically, Callum saying, "Yep, this is it." Basically, Callum wasn't really been that much interested in magic, except for magic that can tell him information, because he wants to know more about the omnitrix. Now we see Callum basically, talk to her, but them, flirting a little bit more since Callum has a lot more confidence built up in him. Basically, him and them, talking, and Callum flirting, and then flirting back and forth with each other. In this universe, making their relationship a little bit, or making Callum's crush or her crush on Callum even more than it already was. But basically, they start talking more and more. And they also talk about black magic, and also she asked about how what you think it is. Basically, him saying it's probably magic of some sorts. And basically, she says, "Well, we should talk about it." And basically, pretty much they talk more and more. Basically, them arranging kind of meet up tomorrow. Basically, we see that Iz and Zoran basically get together and basically start to have a fun time. Basically, zip lining, going around the forest. Basically, Zoran just trying to butter pretty much Zoran up, or pretty much Zoran trying to butter up Israel so Israel can give him the dragon. But basically, see that pretty much Claudia and pretty much Callum go to the rooftop of the pretty much place. Basically, Callum saying, "Yeah, this is beautiful," and basically they start talking more and more, and eventually, as Callum times out, pretty much they start talking more and more, and basically Callum actually goes for a kiss, but pretty much Claudia doesn't see it, and Callum sees that she's looking away, her not really seeing Callum trying to kiss her, him just stopping, not wanting to go off this weird. Basically, him being left there saying bye to Claudia, and pretty much meeting up, making a meetup with Claudia. Basically, Zoran seeing that the zipline thing was kind of unsturdy, but him pretty much making it so that Ezrin would fall. Basically, pretty much Rilla steps in out of the shadows, basically saying, "What are you thinking about?" Basically, him saying, "Well, I was trying to fix that thing, the thing that he's actually trying to pull so he can kill Israel off the zip line, since the thing he was trying to pull was the anchor for the zip line." Now, basically, we see that he still talks to Rayla the same way. That none of that being really changed. Pretty much us seeing pretty much Callum writing down some stuff, but also at the same time him actually writing down pretty much just notes about the omnitrix that he's learned so far. And basically, we see that he starts talking to Rayla, and Rayla tells him that I don't trust them. Pretty much her saying the same thing to Callum. And basically, Callum says if they're doing something wrong, or if they even might have lied to us, or even might have just lying to us all the time, they can't just take us out. I have the omnitrix. You're a shadow elf, and it can talk to animals, and we also have a dragon and a wolf, and also a illusionist elf. I'm pretty sure we could take care of ourselves. Basically, they start getting an argument, and it does end off the whole entire sad part. Rayla just leaving the room, leaving Callum there. Now we see Callum go back to look at the omnitrix, and we can switch back to pretty much Claudia getting ready for her date with Callum. Now we see that Claudia talks to her brother, pretty much her not really telling her brother about the whole entire omnitrix thing, but basically pretty much Rayla going to the pretty much moon elf illusionist, asking her advice for pretty much gaining somebody's trust, like she wants to gain the trust of Callum again, or just gain the trust of Callum in general, because she never really had it in the first place. Now basically, pretty much she tells her the same thing. Pretty much Rayla, trying to get more information. And we get switched back to basically the castle, where we see Claudia and Zoran's father pretty much use magic and change his body, making him more consumed in dark magic. We get switched back to pretty much the area. We switch back to the mountain, or the pretty much moon, or pretty much the rooftop of the what was it, the magic house? Don't really know what it's called. Basically, we see Callum show up, being in this type of fit with his jacket on, but without the scarf. Basically, him having his haircut like this, not really having it all harped out and stuff like that, like he did in the original. Him showing up, basically Callum and Claudia having more or less of a magical night. Basically, them talking, pretty much getting to know more each other, talking more and more, saying that the Nexus is beautiful. Basically, her looking at the fountain, the body of water that's covered by the moon, that the moon illusionist protects. Basically, him saying that, for so long. Basically them talking, get kind of going awkward, but still them sharing some moments, them talking more and more, and Callum, them actually about to share a kiss. Now, originally, as they were showing a kiss, they were actually way closer, and they were legit about to kiss, and they actually did. Basically, Claudia, after that, telling Callum about, well, his father. Basically, we see that, well, Callum is stepped by this, shocked even, just completely distraught, just broken. And we see that Callum is crying at the end of the episode, and we get switched to the end credits. And now we get switched to episode 3, season 2. And I'm going to end it off here, guys.